stuff. First time seeing the new Oregon in an NA major. Very exciting. See what our bans are going to be. Is it going to follow the traditional path, or is it going to follow the path of the major, where we establish some very weird things inside of our ban phases and try and adopt some new play styles? First offensive ban, and Oxygen's going to be tearing away the Ash, trying to hinder Merc just a little bit more.
Certainly the case. That's an important player to try and hinder as well. We've seen the potency that can come out of Merc if he's allowed to play in that fashion. TSM are going to follow a much more traditional route when it comes to playing on the Oregon, and Maverick is going to be knocked out of the pool. We still have Thatcher in play, however, so you can still take a traditional hard breacher route with him being left unbanned.
Well, we're going to follow that up with the Clash ban from TSM. Not a bad ban at all, especially for Oregon. She has a very good presence across multiple sites here, specifically the top stairs dorm setups as well as basement, where Clash can be utilized to be able to slow down offensive pushes, especially inside of the attic area upstairs. So Valk gonna round out the last of the bans, just trying to limit any of that intel game possible, but that does leave open Maestro as well as Echo, the two most notable hard anchors.
Being a ban, of course, that we sometimes see coming into the mix. She provides quite a bit of intel, and sometimes those cameras can be hard to spot unless you specifically bring an operator on the attacking side. IQ this is, of course, to counter it, so rather than having to default into that choice, sometimes it's better to ban it out. She's also a pretty versatile roamer, so getting rid of her limits the options for those players on the defenders team as well. We'll have a 6-pick used here in the first round by Bio. He's going to swap over to the Mute, and we're also going to see the IQ swapped in on Merc there.
This is going to be a very awkward Oregon. And the main reason I'm saying that is mainly because of the Thatcher coming into play here. Thatcher hinders a lot of what can be done on the defense, mainly because of those EMPs that everyone obviously knows about. He's going to be able to get rid of a lot of utility on the defense, specifically, though, the ADSs, mute jammers, and Wamai discs that are going to be the priority for them. Whether they're going to be able to drone them out or not, we'll have to see if they can possibly get some confirms on that. But that's more than likely what we're going to be seeing these EMPs used for. Obviously, since the Kaid got 6-picked away, not going to have to worry too much about those hatches.
All right, folks, so let's see how well things are going to fare for TSM. They're going to be let out in just a few moments here. In terms of the overall setup, you know, where reinforcements are positioned and whatnot, we should expect pretty much your straightforward hold here. You've got the single half-wall reinforcement on the laundry back closet. Rotates your setup to allow players to move in. Vert's going to be playing a little bit more aggressively. Sometimes you see a Goyo swapped into this position as well. Obviously not the case this time, but the main reason for that is that you can fall back and try to reinforce that wall, I suppose is a good way to put it, for a late round hold there after trying to delay with a more aggressive hold in the Wamai's current position.
It's a very nice fallback strat. We usually see it paired with a smoke or a Goyo. It just depends on what the team really wants to bring. Might have an early swing here from Bio. He pop one shell off, but doesn't make any contact. TSM is not trying to get aggressive too early on here. I want to make sure that they can shut down these possible late flanks from the defense and establish dominance over the top of the map.
Slash potentially taking an aggressive angle on the smoke as well, which could prove itself to be dangerous if someone from TSM pokes into that and ends up coming out on the winning side over Slash, but looks like that duel will be avoided for quite some time. The top floor has also been taken out, so it's now a 2-tiered angle that Slash has to worry about. Not necessarily something that he's going to want to re-peek in this situation unless he knows he's got a kill waiting around the corner for him. More drone work being done by TSM, just checking out T3 real quick to make sure no surprises are lurking up there, along with a swift droning of the other 2 floors too.
Well, first EMP used here by Bolo grants them access to the electrical hatch, and they'll immediately blow that open. Also got rid of some utility downstairs, so should give TSM some more breathing room, at least on their drone game. Very, very smart utility usage here with Merc on the IQ. Yes, she actually does have utility, folks. It's not just the G8A1. Using that to pair that with the Thatcher so they can get rid of ADSs and such, and pair that with a frag grenade there. That was a very nice team play there by TSM. Just unfortunate that Laxian was able to rotate away safely.
Yeah, some damage going off onto Achieved in the process too, so he's going to take some heat from that. Actually, never mind. That's a misread. Ignore that. continue on throughout this round. TSM are going to continue to try and put pressure forward here, but at the moment, stuck in trying to transition from the first floor down into the basement here. That's going to change soon, though. You can see all the drone work being done just as of a few moments ago, and it's going to continue to lead into this execute, but it's all falling by the wayside. At the moment, it's all Oxygen on this hold all day long, shutting them down one by one. Everything falls to Bolo now in a 1v5 scenario. Still has 30 seconds left to play, yeah, but the scenario put before him is going to be nearly impossible to come out on top of. A good start as he takes out Vert, but a long way to go. He'll be hit by the yokai drone, throws the EMP grenade onto the floor to quickly stun that yokai in hopes of being able to isolate it. There you go, he's taking it out. Here comes the swing to Pillar, though, and that's going to be Laxing finishing off the round as Oxygen takes swift control of round number 1 nearly in a flawless fashion.
Now, Bolo's good, but no one's that good. I hate to break it to you. That's a lot of errors that have to be made by the defense for that to even form a chance for Bolo to win that situation. So falling to Oxygen in the first, and Oxygen a very aggressive hold there. No roam game, though. We saw them just aggressively swing off of what they were able to contest, especially with those shotguns near electrical room. And that's something that we've grown to expect from Oxygen. They're very good inside of these gunfights. They're not scared to take them, as well as they'll make these offenses continuously work for that map control on any front that they're able to safely. And I think that's exactly why Oxygen has that 60% win rate on their defensive side. Granted, their offensive side, not nearly as luster as their defense, being 40.8%. So we'll have to see once the sides flip. But for right now, Oxygen looking damn good.
Looking good, and more importantly, not needing to use their roaming presence, as you mentioned early on, which means that where exactly they're going to play that for is still a bit of a mystery going into these next rounds. You can see much more roam-centric operators coming into the fold this time around, most notably Vert, of course. So we can expect hopefully a bit more of that this time, as they'll try to mess around with TSM in the midst of this round. You should still expect quite a few players to remain on site as well, though, given how much you need to reinforce things and generally play out the time when it comes to trying to delay the push from TSM here.
Yeah, I think that the most notable thing about this upstairs when it comes to that roam game is the basement. Mainly because of the rework here. We have multiple staircases similar to Consulate, where you're able to rotate around the map very frequently and often, with hatches dropping down to the basement as well. It makes it to where it's a playground for anyone that is willing to roam. That could be a possibility for Vertical here, as he seems to want to contest early on, but instead he's just playing through the attic hatch. Very smart here in the placement of where Vert is playing, because that ERC-7 backpack will poke through the floor into median when he turns it on. So as they're droning, they could possibly see some presence. He's going to go for the sprint early on here. Oh my god, he hops right in. Can he get the kills? I don't even know that they know that he's here. Oh my goodness gracious. Vert getting caught off guard by Chala on tower stairs. That's going to be the first kill here, but Merc, quite a bit of damage dealt.
Vert's such a heroic move, but very unfortunate results at the end of the day. The timing just did not work out in his favor, with his primary target leaping out the window, his secondary target going out of LOS, and then the player on the stairs didn't even seem like he was aware of that player and quickly gets taken out by him. It's Chala that gets the job done and prevents disaster for the players on TSM, as they are going to be nearly prone victim to that very aggressive move from Vert. Does not end up working out this time around, though.
Well, with half the round expended, TSM is a man up and make that 2 now, as Fox is punished for an error in his ways. It seemed he tried to rotate down White Stairs, which was already collapsed upon by TSM as they had full map control. Last remaining members of Oxygen all hiding inside of sight, but another misstep here by Slash and Laxine. It seems like we might trade rounds back and forth here, folks. Biologic, the last remaining member. The captain, the IGL, down for the count. And that's a flawless round for TSM in round 2.
Yeah, this one truly flawless for TSM. Pretty much the exact opposite of the issues that they were facing in the previous round. We're able to get a lot of control surrounding the sites. And not only that, but we're able to isolate and, more importantly, force out the members of OXG from their safe positions in order to kill them one by one, something that they were unable to do in the first round, which eventually led to their loss. We're going to go right over into kitchen and dining hall now. No repeat sites for Oxygen after failing to defend the upstairs hold.
Not a bad idea in the slightest. They are going to 6-pick away from the Mira. More than likely a bait that they're going to go somewhere else, or put an inkling of doubt in what the offense needs to bring in their lineup. But they are going to 6-pick away from the Zofia, bring that IQ once again. It's been very impactful, especially paired with Bolo's EMP grenades. They've been able to get rid of quite a bit of utility. It's worked out well for them. So now that we see Oxygen setting up, they are definitely going to be setting up that showers area. It's more of a bunker type setup to try and play it out, delay as much time as possible. But it seems that they're going to be going about things in a little bit of a different fashion. Going to actually shotgun footholes in the left panel towards the bottom of small tower.
Going to continue to drain the time down here that OXG have to set up, but as far as that setup is concerned, as Silk is already describing, some of it feels like pretty straightforward once again here for Oxygen's hold. Another big question with regards to how this round is going to play out is still in regards to the roaming question here, but I also think that we should expect this one to go pretty much usually as teams would generally play their roam game for this site anyway. It's going to be Foxay on the hold upstairs right now. Laxing also in position. Laxing for certain is going to be staying out here and holding the upstairs presence more than likely. Foxay still yet to be seen, but that would also not be super uncommon if they keep the Echo up here to try and hold and potentially delay for the push with a late swing coming into the picture if he's needed for the actual retake.
I completely agree with you on that front. They also need to hold down that upstairs area. It's very pivotal to that kitchen area, and that's exactly why you're going to have the Foxay Laxing duo upstairs and some firepower in the hands of Vertical as well. One of the most dangerous fraggers in the entire world of Siege, as he's shown time and time again. 2 minutes and 10 seconds left here on this round, and making quick work now as they're trying to prioritize getting inside of showers. Going to expend one of those exothermic charges on the single panel that they put up inside of there, and now it's up to Slash to try and hold things down on the center locker stack there. Does have a deployable shield to be able to play off of, giving him a nice little angle, but TSM looking good for the time being.
Okay, drone's still providing intel, so no reason for Oxygen to overreact to the current breaches just as of yet here. They've got good positioning to play off of here. Vert's also going to be rotating back upstairs now that Foxay will seal himself in to the kids' dorms over on the other side of the upstairs hold. Away from that, yes, TSM have the breaches to work off of, but they haven't made a whole lot of progress in pushing them as of yet. And that's because they're still looking for intel, still trying to deal with some of these shields and additional utility that's set up deeper in the site. They want to knock that out if at all possible before fully committing to this. Otherwise, it could lead to disaster like we saw back on round number 1. Slash is going to get dropped when they finally commit themselves to the push. That'll work its way in. Bola will be able to take out Slash, and now Vert will be in position still at 90 for a quick exchange. Swings back in to that breach, finds Bolo, and brings us back down into a 4v4.
Well, sub-minute now, and Merc's still up. This is the man of the hour, the man that everyone has been talking about. His play, leaving social media to try and have a mental reset so that everything can be successful, especially for the major. And you see a big day from him here. Geo with the next pickup. That's Fox. Has a huge kill. The Echo off the board. He's stuck to cameras now, and the trickle effect continues as Merc just holds the cross for the bottom of white. Now stuck into the post plan. It's Bio and Laxing trying to pick this up. They're going to get the initial kill here, but the vertical play from TSM more than likely going to punish them.
Great control for them. It's going to be a swing attempt here from Laxing as he tries to work himself over towards Showers to come back against this, but no, will be immediately punished by the air jab when he tries to press the issue. Both Achieved and Chala will pick up those 2 kills at the end of the round in quick succession to close out on a second attacking round for TSM. Seems like obviously some issues in the first round, but now they've found their stride in these next 2 and are starting to dominate here on the attacking side. It's up to the folks on Oxygen to try and turn this around as they do have a repeat site coming up here with the basement hold up next.
Yeah, these early deaths from Oxygen just not paying off right now. And that was the last 2 rounds in a nutshell. But we're headed back downstairs where Bio and the rest of the squad were able to get a lot of early kills, burning so much utility, delaying so much time. It was practically a flawless round, all except for that early or the very late kill, excuse me, that Bolo was able to get when he was in that 1v5 situation. But obviously, that doesn't really play into much. So we'll see if this offense for TSM works out better now that they're downstairs, but we are going to have an operator that seems to be more and more apparent today coming to the lineup. It's not a 6-pick, folks. They have stuck the man's name that I can't remember. Oryx, there we go. I wanted to say Onyx, like this is Pokemon for some reason. So anyways, Oryx coming into the lineup.
So Bio is going to be jumping onto the Oryx this time around. No blitzes yet. Obviously, that's still a DZ trademark for the time being, but we'll update you if that changes as well. Seems like things are starting to differentiate itself from what we're used to, at least from the regular season NAL meta. There's a lot more money, and more importantly, there's SI points on the line for these teams starting today. So quite a bit more coming into these matchups that these teams need to try and compete for, and that means the new strategies are going to start to unfold.
Yeah, this is when we stop playing checkers and we start playing chess, and that's what a lot of these teams have adopted into their play style today. But that's exactly what you would expect from any major event. You're going to be seeing things that are unorthodox, but they work, and that's what Oxygen's trying to provide here. Bio can also be very aggressive with this operator. If you guys don't know exactly what Oryx is capable of, his dash actually allows him to barrel through soft walls and create rotates, as well as he's able to hop up hatches. Yes, I know, it's a very, very strange thing, but he is indeed capable of it, and he can have quite a large impact if not dealt with, specifically because of things right there. He's the only one in the game that has a dash like that to be able to transition through areas where he could possibly be shot quickly.
It should be noted, of course, it doesn't get like iframes or anything like that through that animation, so you can still very easily, gun him down. He just moves very fast during that process. So, in case anybody was curious about that.
Reaction time test.
Yeah, very, very much. To be fair, he does move pretty quick when he does that, so still a hard shot to hit. If he's right in front of you, probably not going to make much of a difference. Round coming to a bit of a pause right now as TSM spending a lot of time trying to analyze the setup of Oxygen and specifically how to deal with this. I'm sure you guys have noticed it by now. The extended hold into tower is proving to be a bit of an issue here for TSM, and I imagine there's been a bit of a discussion of the last 30 to 40 seconds here about how exactly they want to try and handle that. And there we go. There's the beginning of the handling as Achieved moves in, quickly deals with Laxing, and sends the Oryx, played by Bio, back down into the depths of the basement.
And like Laxing had a handle installed on him. That's how quickly that one was dealt with. Have to worry about the hatches now, though. Some late reinforcements are going up by Bio, but there's people falling around him. They need to be able to fight back, and they need these picks to do so. The good news is that it is the basement, and you don't exactly need the full squad to be able to prevent a plant from going down, but obviously you can always assist. More guns equals more fun, and that's just how life rolls. Back tower the priority right now for TSM as they're droning out the site. Vertical still being quite aggressive, but this is a playstyle we expect from Oxygen. TSM with the adjustment towards construction now to try and shut down some of these possible rotations for Oxygen. TSM very low on time now. Still need to be able to find some place to put this diffuser down. Still Toxic Babes in the defensive hand as well.
I was wondering when we were going to see the retreat there from the Wamai on Verd as he had been playing out towards Pillar, trying to delay further, but now with 30 seconds left, he can finally play into the site. Not have to worry about watching 2 to 3 separate angles and being responsible for all of them at once. Barit's going to come out right next to Slash. We'll put him in a very bad position here. He's going to pop off one more of those gas grenades before falling back. Slash will be able to swing following that one up, and Vert's going to come in for the assist too. They might yet have a chance to hold this. A misread from Slash, though, costs him his life as he swings into a different player besides the one that's killing him. Bolo takes him out. The plant's going down on the ground. Is there a denial? Oh, there is, as we see them rolling in at the very last second. Oxygen will take control over this round.
Chala can do a lot, but when it comes down to rocking 2 angles with that ARX, it's not going to happen. Low bullet capacity inside of that weapon leads to their demise, and Oxygen pick up a round off of TSM getting those entry frags that were desperately needed. Just not able to capitalize on that situation, sadly. But I like the attempt getting control of Pillar, but it just seemed that Oxygen, even man down, were still able to delay so much time, and that really was the downfall for TSM.
Yeah, I mean, the T1 hold, while it didn't necessarily look like it was that successful, did waste a bunch of time simply because TSM had to, like, sit back there for a couple seconds and think, like, all right, how do we deal with this? And, figure that out, because I don't think they were necessarily expecting that to come out or happen in the midst of that round. So that wasted a good amount of time. The extended Wamai play over by Pillar, even though that, again, only wastes, like, 30 seconds at that point, we're already at about a minute, so that's becoming very important to waste half the time remaining on the clock and basically just forcing TSM into an execute where they can't perfectly drone or read every single instance, including that last second rotate, which saves Oxygen in the midst of that round and allows them to take control of it.
It really seemed as though TSM had, the keys to the castle there in that sub-minute like you were talking about. They made the rotation for construction to be able to try and deal with pillars in a better fashion, but it was just too little too late, and Oxygen, once again, able to close that one out. We're sitting 2-2 right now with only 2 rounds remaining for their respective sides. See who comes out on top in this one. We're headed back upstairs to dorms. Similar setup to last time. We'll see if the Vigil wants to get aggressive towards Big Tower again, but I don't expect as much. Vert is switched off. He's went over to the Wamai, and now Biologic has picked up the Vigil.
bit of an exchange. Bio's actually going to be much more actively roaming, it looks like, too, as we rarely seen the roamer go very far from the site so far, with I think the biggest exception being the round that they played on the first floor in kitchen and dining. So this is going to be the biggest exchange from that we've had so far all game, with Bio hopefully being able to pick up more. But unfortunately for him, he is more likely to end up missing on that mark quite a bit, as a lot of the presence is going to be over here by tower. It seems like he's aware of that, though, or at least the call has been given to him, and he's now changing up his own position to see if he can do anything from the basement tower stairs, pushing up against the main bulk of the TSM roster, which is currently trying to take care of the attic wall.
Not a bad start. Not a bad start. Excuse me, for TSM. If my tongue could possibly, work there. Still need to work their way throughout this upstairs, but obviously a lot of time left for them, and more than likely going to be rotating for Master. But in the time being, we'll have to see how Oxygen can possibly try and mess things up for the offense. They've been aggressively swinging quite often on their defensive rounds, and it's costed them a couple of times, but now it's mainly on to Biologic, as he's all the way downstairs on rotation to try and stop TSM. We could see him, never mind, we're going to see him die. Achieve will handle that inside of Dining. And that's more than likely what was expected. Achieved is a very, very good player. As noted from Veli earlier, he's one of those people that you just never count out.
Always when we talk people up that they die like 2 seconds later. Very unfortunate. We're going to see the Nitro Cell go out. Oh, that actually worked, I think, too. Wow. Nice heads-up play from Foxay there. Throws the Nitro Cell underneath of that small little shotgun breach, and it does successfully trick out the attempt to hard breach in to walk in.
Very nice utility usage there by the defense. Some nice position in here from TSM now on the offense, as they're completely out of hard destruction, so they're going to have to find a different means in order to get onto site. And with only Biologic removed, the remaining players for Oxygen are all site players. Oh, Vert, you rat of a man. Oh, will it work out for me? Does, but it's immediately traded back. He might be able to capitalize on this further as he sprints into Big Tower. Doesn't work out for him, though, as he punches the window. Some bullets are sent his way. Doesn't take any damage, but definitely going to back off of that one. Grenades out now, though, and Slash takes some damage. We are going to have a kill on the rotation. TSM flooding into sight. We need to see this plant, but oh my, Slash. Oh, he's everywhere and nowhere all at once. Capitalizes on the man on top of white stairs, and TSM all over that round. And a very awkward execution, to be completely frank with you.
Yeah, like obviously things get really jumbled at the end there, but thankfully for TSM's sake, they had the large majority of their players grouped up, which prevented the disaster of that shotgun ripping them to shreds one by one. You nearly saw a crazy round there from whoever that was on Oxygen that was holding the angle, but is going to fall short simply because he just gets overwhelmed. And that's one of the benefits of the playstyle right now from TSM, is they are, when they're pushing, they're generally speaking doing it together if the situation allows for it, and that's led to quite a few trades that otherwise could have been disastrous for them if they were playing things in a more split nature. So at the moment, TSM really dominating. This scoreline is, in my opinion, much more one-sided than it appears to be, simply because Oxygen have really only found success in the basement. They're starting to come a little bit closer to defensive wins on the other sites, but as of this point, TSM is dominating anything that is in the basement.
Well, they shifted gears over to meeting away from dining, in which they played the last time. That was round 3, where TSM was able to successfully win out that round. So heading into round 6 now, as previously stated, we're going to be headed towards meeting. This is usually the area in which you want to close down, which is the meeting hall. We haven't seen too many plants from kitchen, traditionally speaking, and it's all about getting that stage wall that you see Laxing currently on, and then trying to get a plant off, whether behind the table or in a different position. We'll have to see exactly how TSM wants to handle this, but quite a bit of utility dedicated here to slow them down, specifically the ADSs, which you usually see set up so that you can have one of those members of Oxygen play near the butt end of meeting.
And I like the switch over to meeting. Allows them to obviously have a bit more of a roam game around the attic and tower area, where they found a lot of their success on trying to set up players on TSM for getting killed. So I think that this is a good overall change up from trying to play into the other site, which they attempted to do on the last go around here. So a little bit of an audible for the final site. We'll see if it works out for Oxygen now that they've brought a different flair to the table here.
Oh, I really like this from TSM. They're clearing upstairs, but going through Master. Haven't seen this one done on this site just yet in recent memory. Vertical up here seems to be prepared, and that they have at least some form of intel on what's going on this side of the map. Some soft wall bangs here through the attic wall, but very slow moving for the time being. These drones still doing their rounds, trying to find where these members of Oxygen are hiding upstairs.
Still a little bit of hesitance here from TSM, and for good reason too. They're spending a good amount of time working on your droning work here. Foxe is going to start to creep in a little bit closer to the actual hold that's happening by Vert inside of Kids, as he knows there's pressure coming towards him. He just doesn't necessarily know exactly the direction it's working itself towards. It's going to start to become more obvious now, though, as the drones start to close in and the players start to make more and more noise. Now the question is, who will end up winning out these gunfights? Will it be Vert? Not this time, as Bolo takes him out. Foxe still nearby to be able to assist with this. Yes, he is, but he's on the fallback. Not going to want to take this fight. He'll give TSM full control of the second floor.
Well, we do have the possibility of a late rotation here, as Foxe is in Big Tower with a rotate through Attic. We'll keep you updated on that situation. Soft destruction now going on above. Oh, quite a bit of damage done with that shotgun. And Achieve doubles down and sledges the floor once again. Laxing sticking around, but what else would you expect from this man? Scared of no one. Still sitting inside of security. Trying to pop the hatch to get down to the basement. That's exactly what he's going to do. Surprisingly, he lives through that as no aggression comes through that vertical play from Achieved while he's dropping, but some hard destruction happens on the other end of the map. That's going to blow up the single panel for Kitchen, and this could be where this plant goes down. Diffuser in Geo's hands, he drones out the entire area, and currently, there's nobody home.
Well, stuff to do with Slash on the back panel, though, is he's got a little bit of a window to try and throw the gas grenades through. Merc, in the meantime, is going to start things out with the entry. Is able to take out Foxe. He was the real last threat to them upstairs. Slash also taken out. That removes the threat of the additional gas grenades getting thrown in. Bio and Laxing are all that's left. Laxing was able to find an exchange as he took out Merc, who was still holding Attic control. You'll remember he took out Foxe just a few moments ago. The last two now trying to actually go for the retake, though, and this is where, unfortunately, they're just not really going to have a horse in this race. They'll get knocked out. There's no easy way to get back into the site. They would have had to find multiple entries just to get in the room, and it'll get shut down pretty much as you'd expect in a situation like that. TSM take control, and the 4-2 scoreline that comes with it.
Very nice play there from TSM, clearing upstairs, taking control of dorms, and then using that control in order to leverage a diffuser plant. Very nice overall, and fantastic calls there from the TSM boys. We'll see how they do on defense now as they lead by 2 going into the split.
A lot of pressure going on to Oxygen now. One round is won very convincingly by them on the basement, but the second one only won via a good rotate that gets them into position to shut down a planter. Other than that, it's been all TSM all day, and in quite a few rounds in very one-sided fashion. We have to hope that Oxygen have something to bring to the table here on their attack. Otherwise, this could be a quick second half, in my opinion.
I completely agree with you. TSM is looking very good right now. Very structured. Nothing too overly aggressive, but the players that we're used to seeing get those frags are showing up. And it's across the entire board right now. Bolo's leading the team with 8 kills, but Merc, Geo, and the rest of the squad definitely picking up their weight and carrying it with them. As for the other side, though, things are looking a little desperate. Vert is leading with 6 right now, but we still have quite a few members in the 2 kill to 1 kill department.
All right, folks, let's find out exactly what they are going to bring to the table. Double hard breach in the mix here, so quite a few options to be opened up by Oxygen. This should give them multiple angles to play from, and that on top of the fact that the Thatcher is also in play. More than likely, those angles and those openings will not get denied, assuming that they are being played correctly. I would doubly assume that when you consider that we have 0 wall denial on TSM at the moment here. So that part of the job is easy for Oxygen. Setting up and getting the kills and the entries, that's the next part of it. They're untested so far in this series, and we're assuming quite poorly of them at this moment. Sometimes teams will really switch up when they go to the other side, so let's see what Oxygen has to give us here.
Let us see. 30 seconds off the board now in round 7. Oxygen transitioning through the map, making good progress. Drones spinning around as per usual. Have some intel as they slowly but surely push Achieved back towards site. It's the default camera for tower as Achieve finally skimpers off into pillar. Oxygen with full control upstairs now with only a minute expended. So now it's down to the hard destruction and trying to get these entry kills that they need.
Corner Claymore going onto the ground there as well, just to make sure nobody can try to make a run up through the laundry route there. They've got reinforcements on it anyway, so not going to be seeing that. Hatches will get dealt with quickly for the reasons I mentioned before. There's basically 0 resistance the TSM can try to throw at that to stop it from happening due to the fact they chose not to bring any wall denial. Not that it would necessarily be super useful for them here.
Yeah, especially with that Thatcher in play, it's practically impossible to try and deny them from getting a hatch or a wall or anything of the sort. So you might as well obviously show a little face, but, you know, don't give them the entire farm. So for TSM, they're held up downstairs. Quite a few drones sent down big tower. Pre-fires now from Geo as he's set up near pipes, but actually he's going to transition over into construction where he's got a shield set up here. We could see a late rotate by Oxygen to this section of the map. It's a nice area to be able to cut off a lot of rotates that are quite important to the defensive playstyle.
Well, the MP is going to get thrown down. Looks like it does get eaten up by a my disc, so actually had limited impact in destroying what its intended target was, but I didn't get to see if there was any utility past where he was throwing it, so unfortunately don't have that info. Less than a minute remaining here now, and not a single point of damage taken by any player in the server. That's just changed, though, as it so often does, unfortunately, when you're casting. Geo with a nice flip around, though, sees the hatch drop. Great calls from his teammates here. He's going to go for 3. He's got it. Even the pistol switch, because why not? Down goes Slash. There's the triple from him, and it's all onto Laxing and Fox.
Very impressive stuff from our main man. Oh my goodness, it's going to be continued on here from Fox as he picks up the kill onto Achieved. What a round from Geo on the Wamai. Rotates back in perfect time as they flood out of electrical room. All down the last 2 remaining members of Oxygen here, but I don't see this going very well. They have to try and challenge him with only 2 seconds remaining. That's going to be all she wrote. It'll be a trade at the very tail end of the round, but nevertheless, it's TSM's to win.
A successful hold from them to start things out in the second half pushes them into, once again, a very dominant position for the scoreline here. Just 2 more rounds away from them being able to shut down the first map and put themselves in a 1-0 position here so far in the series. Noted, of course, this is a best of 3, so they do need that second map to close out and push themselves forward to the winner's final tomorrow against DZ.
It's a very slow windup here from Oxygen as compared to the very first round that we saw by them. I assumed that we were going to be seeing that Oxygen the entire time, but it doesn't seem to be the case. They are actually quite slow moving on offense, specifically when they're attacking basement, but you got to give them the benefit of the doubt in that one. That is quite a utility heavy site, and to burn through all of that while also trying to contest multiple separate angles, not exactly a cup of tea.
Massive props once again to Geo for the very heads-up play that was thrown against him. Lesser players would immediately die under those circumstances, but Geo not only gets the 1-for-1 guarantee, not only gets the second kill, makes it 3 as well with a quick little flip up there to kill the player trying to come down tower stairs against him. Beautifully played. Now has put TSM into a good position to close out if they can take that pressure forward into multiple rounds here.
And the beauty of that is exactly what the analyst desk was talking about with TSM. They have a superstar player in every single one of these positions that can pop off at almost any given point in time. And Geometrics is no different. Granted, as discussed, since Pojo is now the coach and they've brought in Chala, Geo's now on more of that hard destruction type of play. But in these certain areas, he's still able to have massive impact. Just because he's playing, you know, more site-centric operators doesn't mean that he can't go big when the time's needed.
See a little bit of hesitance here, as you might expect at this point in a given round, when you consider all of the pondering that Oxygen have to do now that they're starting to get some of the early round drone intel. The plan will start to formulate about how exactly they will take an approach to this run. Over the next 30 seconds or so, we'll start to get a little bit closer to the action. Achieved is going to get realized here in the basement, so no more free info going in his direction. In fact, just staying alive may no longer be free. You could probably see that silhouette. There is a member of Oxygen over on the other side of the basement, currently Laxing, trying to hunt him out. He's on the Jackal too, so we can know pretty much exactly where he is with the use of his ability here. Just has to follow the footsteps, or just use the tracker for the easy solution to that problem.
We'll have to see if they're able to flush him out towards Laxing. Oh, but a smart play from Achieved, and he's going to be able to find one. Is he actually going to wallbang him here? He hasn't moved really at all. He's still holding that angle. There it is. Oh, no, but he misses the shot, and Laxing flicks. Oh, Achieved. That is not the time to shoot next to somebody's head, my man. Oh, very unfortunate for him. But he's 4-4-4 now, and Shaiko still finds his way somehow into this game. We continue on down the line. Laxing with a very big entry kill here that's more than likely going to send shockwaves throughout this round.
So unfortunate for Achieved right there. Just a pixel or two off from his head. And unfortunately gets the shot set right back in his general direction. Bolo, in the meanwhile, will be able to completely deny Bio on a window hop out. More importantly, drops the diffuser. Thankfully, he did have a teammate close by, so Slash has already retaken possession of said diffuser. Not going to have to scavenge to try and get back control for another 30 seconds or so, which is great, because if they were put in that position, this could already be the end of the round for them if they would have had to spend a large majority of this remaining minute trying to get back control.
Well, the difficulty is definitely ramped up with Bio off the board. That's all the hard destruction gone. So it's straight up gunfights now for Oxygen. And looking at this defensive setup from TSM right now, that doesn't seem to be the best avenue that they can go. But that's the terrible thing. It's the only avenue that they have access to. Still Toxic Babes in the pocket of the defense here, as Chalice still has 2 of them remaining, expending 1 more here to try and deny them access to Attic. Well, they're going to have to try and find different means of travel as they'll punch the kids' dorms window, slowly but surely collapsing onto site. That's going to be the last smoke there. Will deny an extra 10 seconds, which will bring us into the sub 10-second category here. EMP's in. More than likely going to be a very harsh execute for Oxygen. How's these gunfights going to go? They seem to be going back and forth for the time being, but all of a sudden TSM shoots ahead. Vert's the last man alive, but not for too long before TSM close out round 8.
Expected winner, I would say, out of a situation like that. Just unfortunately not enough for the folks on Oxygen to play into, for the reason you mentioned. The loss of their hard breacher that early on really limited the angles of play and their capability to try and get into the site, especially at a low time situation like that. Basically just had to go for it, and that will pretty much go, usually anyway, into the favor of the defenders if the attackers are executing without intel and without proper utility usage.
This is just a very, very poor showing from Oxygen here. And honestly, again, after that earlier round, specifically round 1, I was not expecting this to finish in any fashion like this. We're currently sitting at 6-2 right now, and I thought that this was going to be a much closer affair, possible overtime in the first map, but obviously it's not over yet. Oxygen can always flick the switch when needed, but hopefully it's not falling down around them.
Well, Oxygen won't have much choice in that matter if they continue to falter on these rounds. Some good opening starts here for them. They're setting themselves up well, but they're just losing so much, both in time, player count, utility, drones, throughout the course of trying to get to the actual site. By the time they're there, they often just don't have what's necessary to get in, get the diffuser on the ground, and set themselves up to a post plant. Utility becomes a lot less important at that point. The attackers anyway, but they've really struggled to just get to that point in the round.
I think the biggest factor of that as well is that Oxygen continuously gets caught off guard by these peaks from TSM. I mean, simply looking at the scoreboards will tell you the tale of what's going on inside of this matchup. The only man that is even, positive or close to positive is Vert, and he's even at 7-0-7. Everyone else is very into the negative, and that's not something that we're used to seeing with Oxygen. On the other side, though, TSM lighting up the scoreboard. The least amount of kills is 4, and that's from Merc. And we've seen him be quite successful in quite a few of these rounds where he's able to close down some rotation avenues.
Merc at the moment just playing drone denial by trying to watch that little panel that's covered up there. Not finding anything from it though, but there is a player waiting right around the corner here. If he's cautious about the way he's playing this, he's also, yeah, he can see the jammer right there while it's active, so gonna get some intel that a player is indeed right around the corner. Doesn't have the capability to try and kill him through the soft destruction as you saw him attempt to do on the IQ, but nonetheless, it's enough to try and force back the vigil. Merc's gonna go a little bit further back towards the site now as a result of being scouted out there.
Oh, it's a maze for Oxygen to try and work their way through. There's a member of TSM almost everywhere throughout this map, but Bio, he's putting a diffuser down. Exactly where is he? He's full stunned. He's actually inside of Split. Geo gets, what in God's name was that? Oh no, Slash ends up killing Fox, the man putting the diffuser down, and trades ensue. It's now stuck down next to Split. Somebody has to pick up this diffuser unless TSM is able to lock this one out. Slash is inside of meeting, but he has to worry about the vertical play now getting played back against him. There's some pressure upstairs. It seems to be the pulse of Achieved as he gets shot up. 2 lone members, but actually no, it's going to be Merc, I believe. Nice grenade there from Slash to take down the man inside of Attic, but they still need this plant to go on. Still with meeting control as Laxing's confirming this. Low on time now with only 1 second remaining on that, and they're locked into the post plant. Nitro Cell goes out and down Slash, but the kills are traded. Bolo able to take down Slash, and we're currently into the 2v2.
A lot of time left, however, still in the post plan. A lot of time left for TSM to still round themselves into the site. OXG are set up, however, and this is not an easy post plant to work past. The good news is you can see Achieved over there. He's got the pulse, so he's going to get some great intel about where exactly these players are. They'll swing their way in. Diffuser's going to be spotted way over in the corner. This is not an easy retake, but Bolo starts it off strong. Picks up the frag on Laxing. Here comes the trades from Vert. He finds one. He needs to kill him quickly or jump onto the counter defuse. There it is. And all Vertical needs to do now is swing around the corner, take him out, and this round is going to Oxygen. Finally, after so long, a lack of success, they finally pick themselves up another round.
That was a very, very scary round there for Oxygen, almost botched by themselves, but able to pick up the pieces nevertheless. Moving into round 10 now, though, between these two. Let's see exactly where TSM wants to head for this next defense. I don't see us running meeting again. No, they're going to be headed downstairs as they've just recently unlocked basement. Very smart, I would say, in that regard. That last round, just a very awkward one, to say the least.
Yeah, certainly the case. We almost had some like SI flashbacks there for OXG for a moment when we had the team kill on the diffuser.
I completely forgot about that on border. Oh, with the Echo drone? I'm the one who commentated that, and I forgot. Ugh. Oh, no.
Thankfully, they were able to get past it this time and still ended up winning out the round, but I was getting really worried for him for a second there.
Okay, well, headed downstairs now. We'll see if Geo can have such a successful round or anywhere near as he did the last time. Some reinforcements set up for TSM, and they're going to keep one of the single panel soft inside of electrical. Going to be going with the exact same setup, and why would you differentiate? Oxygen had a very, very hard time getting into this setup the last time. I don't see it being any different this time around.
Yep, just a rinse and repeat here for TSM as far as they're concerned. It's up to Oxygen to innovate here and change up the strategy to hopefully outwit TSM and keep this comeback rolling. It's really been the story of the day when it comes to at least 3 out of the 4 maps we've casted so far. As one team gets off to a massive lead and the other one is just fighting as desperately as they can to try and come back from behind.
Yeah, it seems to be the day of the underdogs as everyone continuously fights back, as you were just saying. Dark Zero winning that series earlier on, which I don't think anyone had that pegged as a DZ victory. It seemed very far-fetched, but as we got down to that cafe map, it became ever more clear that they were definitely going to end up winning that one. But for Oxygen, they have to try and recreate some magic here. This offensive side, not the best, and the worst thing about it is they have to do it 3 times in a row on a map that leans towards the defense.
All right, so a bit more of an aggressive play this time for TSM. They are going to put Geo up in T3, which has its own huge set of risks in that, one, he could end up just not seeing anyone throughout the course of the round, and will have to fall back, which will take him quite a bit of time from this position here. But the good news is, if he goes unnoticed, he can find quite a bit of impact from that angle right there that you just saw, along with quite a few other positions if he's able to sneak back down to T2 while still remaining unnoticed.
Well, as expected, slow windup here from Oxygen. That seems to be the name of the game here for Oregon. Both of these teams not too quick to the initial punch, as we've only had quite a few early round picks. So we're almost already halfway through here. We do have some presence from TSM inside of T3, but that's going to get droned out immediately. That's going to be the Wamai of Geo now, all the way upstairs, and this seems to be in an area where they can handle it from multiple sides. EMPs for Fox, but he's going to swing it. Oh no, Vertical! That is not the time to miss your shots. He's able to trade it out, but Fox done and dusted. That's going to be the Thatcher off the board now. Not a great showing from Fox overall.
Nice shot thrown out, at least respect to his opponents. We do have wall denial this time as well in the form of Bolo, so that could end up being a pretty big deal as we get later on into the round where both Laxing and Bio will face obstacles that, to be honest, at this point, they're not going to be able to do anything about. They would need a player to get underneath the hatch, if it's a hatch, or obviously on the other side of the wall, and just manually take that stuff out, which at that point, you don't even need the hard breach because you can see the other side of the wall. Oxygen, in the meanwhile, are going to favor the freezer push right now, with 2 of their players opting to go down. 3, in fact, of their players opting to go down this route. As looks like the Habana decides to join them at the last second. They are going to commit to this, and thankfully for them, it was left empty by TSM due to the fact that Bolo had rotated out. That doesn't mean he doesn't have an angle, though, as you'll see right there. Swings into it, switches up his POV, tries to go for another one against the Capital. This one's a bit more difficult, though. Vertical gets the best of him, but swings right into Merc after that. Who will best out Vertical? Down into a 3v2 now. 20 seconds remain. On top of that, Laxing and Bio need to make this work somehow, but similarly to so many rounds before, they don't have an easy way to get in. They have to take so much more risk, and that's exactly what they don't want to have happen here. Merc takes out Laxing, and it's not too long before we see Bio eliminated as well. That's going to do it, ladies and gentlemen, and we will indeed see TSM taking solid control of the first map of this series.
A very difficult showing there from Oxygen as TSM wipes the floor with them on Oregon. Amazing showing from TSM overall as they seem to be ready for this major, but that's